In this video, we're going to learn about a theory that aliens live in a remote place that's seemingly inhospitable, Antarctica. Many sites across the world have yielded evidence of alien visitation or habitation, from Peru to China to Egypt, and yet Antarctica remains mostly untouched. There have been a few sightings of mysterious objects or phenomena there over the years. Unfortunately, the inhospitable conditions make it hard to explore thoroughly. If you're interested in finding out more, let's get right into the video. Antarctica is a frozen wasteland. Aside from animals, the only living beings there are researchers carrying out studies. 98% of Antarctica is covered with thick ice, and the average temperature ranges from -10 degrees Celsius to -55 degrees Celsius. This means that it's very difficult to sustain life in those extreme weather conditions. But surprisingly, researchers have discovered that life can thrive beneath the ice. There is a hidden cave system there with a temperature of up to 25 degrees Celsius, and this oasis is inhabited. Scientists from the Australian National University have discovered shocking details about these warm caves while studying the soil within. Strange traces of DNA have been found scattered about the caves. Some of these samples were identified as existing species of animals, moss, insects, and algae. Others had unknown sources. What could have cultivated such a strange, fertile environment under the ice? Was it a natural occurrence, or the hand of extraterrestrial beings? Maybe they were using it as a test environment of sorts, an isolated laboratory, if you will. Professor Laurie Connell from the University of Maine warns against jumping to conclusions. Although the discovery is exciting, finding DNA traces of unknown species does not mean the creatures are still living in those caves. As strong winds blow across Antarctica now and then, they may carry the DNA traces from elsewhere. DNA is also prone to contamination. What appears to be an alien species could also be a mixture of DNA from different organisms. Aside from this discovery, another phenomenon that may assist us in uncovering Antarctica's extraterrestrial presence is the melting of the glaciers. With the advent of global warming, more and more of these glacier caves are being exposed. And it's not just occurring in Antarctica, but in other cold regions as well. In Austria, a series of otherworldly ice caves have opened up. Wandering in to study the effects of global warming, scientists have also found similar scraps of DNA, like the ones in Antarctica. Could they share the same origin? It seems likely. One such glacier is the Yamtalfener, one of Austria's 30 largest glaciers. Unfortunately, these glaciers are in a permanent decline. While it offers scientists an opportunity to study them from the inside, it also means they will be destroyed eventually by global warming. Over in Canada, yet another glacier holds a presently untapped trove of potential findings. Whistler's Cave is one of the many caves in a glacier that's over 10,000 years old. Only recently have studies begun on the ice trapped there. One scientist involved in this is Dr. Richard Hoover. According to him, the entire glacier is teeming with life. He believes much of this life came from beyond the stars on comets and has been thriving beneath the ice. Samples have been taken, but as of now, it's still too early to tell for sure. If these organisms are anything like the ones in Antarctica, it'll be a major breakthrough. That would be significant proof towards advancing the theory of extraterrestrial life in Antarctica or anywhere else on Earth. Speaking of alien life on meteorites, there have been numerous meteorite fragments recovered in the Antarctic. It's usually quite hard to find meteorite impact sites in other areas. Evidence of old impacts create impact craters, but these are frequently hidden by volcanism, erosion and disposition, and the growth of vegetation. Many meteorites also fall directly into the sea. In Antarctica, however, the flat terrain provides easy access to fallen meteors. Melting ice also exposes many of these ancient objects. More than 50,000 Antarctic meteorites have been recovered by different research teams. The most famous was Allen Hill's 84001, which was found in 1984. Structures within the rock, which came from Mars, seem to indicate the fossilization of bacteria. Some scientists argue that the life form came from Earth. They believe it contaminated the rock when it crashed, before dying and turning into a fossil. Others disagree and claim that the fossil is genuinely Martian in origin. They believe the specific mineral structure within the meteorite can only be formed due to the presence of bacteria or other life forms. These life forms would inhabit and alter the rock to provide a better environment for survival. Through the years, strange sightings have been reported across Antarctica. Most of these were captured via aerial cameras, as the land is extremely hard to traverse. In mid-2018, a photo was circulated of an unusual object in drowning mud land in the northern section of Antarctica. Some theorists believe it to be a buried UFO. You can see what appears to be a trail leading up to it. The trail seems to have been created as it landed on the ice. In another area, there's also what seems to be a 13th century European castle. It's known as a Motte and Bailey design. You can tell by the diameters, 120 meters across, and 2 layered circles. Unlike a typical Motte and Bailey castle though, it appears to be flat. These types of castles usually have significantly raised earthworks. Europe has many examples of them, from the well-preserved and in-use Windsor Castle in England to a whole range in various states of disrepair, though all with substantial earthworks. What's strange is that the castle sits in a part of Antarctica directly south of Australia. The Europeans hadn't even colonized Australia in the 13th century. We covered the idea of aliens helping out various civilizations in previous videos. They may have shipped some of their workers to Antarctica in the 13th century to set up a new base. That didn't seem to work out though, and the fortification has been abandoned. In some of the dry valleys of Antarctica, there are also strange, monstrous-looking bones of an unknown species. They appear to be humanoid, but also have flippers and an elongated body. Detractors claim these are seal bones, but that raises the question, why are there so many all in the same spot? Would seals gather to die all at once? Perhaps they belong to some other extraterrestrial species and were killed by a disaster of their own making. It's safe to say Antarctica holds many more mysteries, some of which we may not uncover in our lifetime. Still, scientists are working hard on deciphering its secrets. Who knows? Maybe technology will enable them to make even more significant discoveries, sooner rather than later. Make sure to comment below on what your thoughts are.
Today's video, we're not looking at space to find aliens. Instead, we'll be checking out the deep sea. The deep sea video is a highly inhospitable alien environment with loads of strange creatures. Many of these creatures possess features that don't seem to belong to our world. If you're curious to know more, let's dive right in. The deeper you go in the ocean, the stranger the environment gets. Right at the bottom, the seabed looks like something you'd find in a sci-fi movie. In 2017, scientists were able to run an expedition to a submerged volcano in the Pacific Ocean. What they saw left them speechless. They called it the Forest of the Weird. Instead of trees, the forest was made up of oddly shaped corals. This includes some that resembled bottlebrush plants and others that were flattened and heart-shaped. Many had pink brittle stars, relatives of starfish, wrapped around their branches. The corals were dotted among glass sponges. One looked like a frilly white petticoat caught in a breeze. It was swaying in the ocean current, hoisted on a zigzag stalk. Most intriguing of all was a glass sponge on tall stalks. It had what looked like a melon-shaped head with 2 holes, appearing similar to googly eyes. This species was nicknamed the ET sponge. In 2020, it was given the scientific name Adventurous magnifica. This means the magnificent alien. Conditions on the seabed may resemble those on other watery planets or moons. Whether it's merely coincidental or life was seeded here by inhabitants of those other planets, no one can say for sure. It's safe to say that we know less about our planet and the deep ocean than we do about space. The creatures living down there are weird. Every once in a while, scientists will discover a new species. These either look like something out of a children's cartoon or a creature from the nightmarish depths of hell. Some creatures look like bundles of rope. Others look like literal blobs of flesh when taken out of the water. There's the unfortunately named sarcastic fringe head, a tiny fish with massive jaws. There's even a fish that looks like a xenomorph from the Alien movies. Here's one of these strange creatures named Sloane's viperfish. It has cells that can produce light. Called photophores, these cells are used to lure unsuspecting prey toward its mouth. Once it catches its victim, the viperfish's hinged teeth rotate inward. This traps the animal, preventing its escape and forcing down the predator's gullet. And it's not the only fish to do so in the deep ocean. Many others are also capable of producing light, like the anglerfish. Speaking of the anglerfish, it has a rather strange reproductive method. The male of the species is much smaller than the female. Their way of mating involves the male fusing with the female. This essentially dissolves the male's body. In the end, only the male reproductive organs are left that allow them to produce new offspring. Rotating teeth, light-producing cells, fusing to mate, that sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? As always, when aliens are involved, you'll get a slew of sightings. Lake Baikal is the deepest lake in Russia and contains 1/5 of the world's unfrozen fresh water. It may not be part of the ocean, but its depths make it equally mysterious and host to various unknown species. In the closing years of the Soviet era, it became the location of several alleged alien and UFO sightings. We often hear about UFO sightings in America, but there have been many reported cases in Russia too. These were initially covered up by the authorities, but the media brought them to light. Sightings included aliens spotted by military divers in Baikal's depths and large spaceships hovering over its waters. These images show what two photographers claim were UFOs buzzing the lake. In 1982, 7 military divers reported encountering aliens under the waters of Baikal. Alexei Tivanenko, a doctor of history, said, "At a depth of 50 meters, they met swimmers around 3 meters tall, dressed in tight-fitting silvery suits. These suits appeared similar to modern-day astronaut suits. They did not have any scuba or other devices, just the suits and helmets on their heads. They received an order to catch the ichthyander, half boy, half shark from Russian folklore, but they were immediately washed ashore with signs of decompression. Unfortunately, only 4 divers survived the trip into the depths. The other 3 died of decompression sickness from their rapid surfacing. They were unable to find those strange humanoids again." Tivanenko likens the appearance of these strange beings to petroglyphs found in ancient ruins. He claims to have hundreds of drawings with these sons of the sky. As of today, only 20% of the ocean floor has been mapped. What is down there? Perhaps giant squids, strange eyeless fish, or even weirder things. The ocean is vast and deep enough to hide many secrets. You could even fit an entire alien civilization down there in the deep trenches. One of these mysteries is related to the dead sharks in Africa. The coast of South Africa became a watery crime scene in May 2017. 3 dead great white sharks washed ashore all at once. The puzzling part is that they were all missing their livers. One was even missing its heart. Scientists performed necropsies on all 3 sharks, examining their injuries to uncover the cause of death. What could have been large or fierce enough to kill a great white shark? The commonly accepted theory is that it was an attack by other great whites or orcas, which are known to hunt sharks. But this doesn't account for a large number of dead sharks washed up all at once. Could it have been an extraterrestrial being that attacked them?